Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Connections. I'm your host, Marnie Uhl, and first of all, I want to say thank you very much to Jerry Ann Koyman for covering us the last time we had the show. My staff, Kim Minoski, and I at the Chamber were at a conference in Tucson, and so sometimes when that happens, Jerry is just always ready to step in and help us. So thank you very much to Jerry Ann Koyman, and we saw it. It was a great show. So we're going to continue on today. Lots of good things going on in the community, and one of the things we're working on, and I'm joined by Cheryl Gillum with U.S. Vets, is a job fair. Putting employers together with people seeking employment. Isn't that a novel concept? So Cheryl, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So this is a partnership through multiple agencies. It's the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. It's Yavapai College. It's U.S. Vets. It's
The VA.
The VA.
All of us coming together on the Yavapai County Job Fair Committee. For several years now, we've had several of the same people on the committee.
Right. Continuing to support the efforts of hiring and putting together employers throughout the community. So in Prescott Valley, we do it every fall. There's one in Chino Valley that's a little bit earlier in the summer, and then traditionally in Prescott, they hold it in the spring. So opportunities several times a year to participate, because it seems like of recent, everyone is looking for employees. So this is a way, it's a one-stop shop that there's multiple employees, and maybe we'll talk about a few of them that you might have a list with that'll be there, Cheryl. But jobs that range, we call it soup to nuts, so you go from manufacturing to, line work to administration to service industries. A little bit of everything is represented at this job fair.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have a lot of that. We have hospitality as well. Some of the sponsors are the REDIC, the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College, Prescott Valley Chamber, of course, Visiting Angels, Fan Contracting has been with us for several years, yes. Yavapai County Broadcasting, the CSEP program through AARP. Those are some of our sponsors. We're really super excited about this because a lot of the employers in this area are looking for employees right now. They're in dire need to fill some holes in their work staff, and we have over 80 employers that have already registered so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, as Cheryl was saying, represented all those different industries. So, if you got a resume, dust it off.
Absolutely,
if you don't have a resume, come to this event, because there will be people assisting you on your resume. But this is an opportunity you can meet first an employer that's going to take your resume, interview right on the spot, and you may walk out with a job. So that happens on a lot when we do these job fairs.
Right, and I work with veterans who are looking to gain employment, and one of the things that I tell them about a job fair is it's the one and only place that you can go to meet a hiring manager without having to compete for the interview first.
Right.
And so there are also a lot of resources that are going to be available to help somebody get their resume ready to go. I know that Goodwill I will work with any veteran who is ready to upgrade their resume and go to the job fair. I'll be teaching a workshop right before the job fair, letting people know what to expect, how to dress, what to bring with you. And tips on your 30-second interview or elevator speech, and how to present yourself at a job fair, as well as DES is going to be providing those same services in their employment services department, helping with the resume and interview skills.
Right. Now, is there an opportunity now, Cheryl, for employers, if they see this segment, that they say, well, I think I want to be involved in that, can they still sign up and participate?
Oh, Catherine's going to be so happy about that. I think that if they wanted to be a last-minute employer that got in, they could contact Catherine Anderson at the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College. You can actually go onto that website and look at all of the job fairs that we have coming up, and you can actually do some research on the employers that are listed that are coming to the job fair, because on there we've pushed really hard to make it a tremendous resource for job seekers and list off all of the jobs that they are trying to fill right now. So you can actually go there and see if the kind of job that you want is going to be there when you get there. So it's a great resource.
Well, do you have a list there?
I
Was I
do.
kind of like,
I do.
was I hitting some of the, when I was mentioning it earlier, was I hit some of those job opportunities earlier?
Right. So CP Technologies, which I believe stands for Combat Proven Technologies, they're looking for assembly technicians, customer service inspectors. Elwood Staffing has a list of about 20 positions they're hiring for. Enchantment Resort has about 10. Fan Contracting has several as well. They're looking for CDLs, but they're also looking for some office staff as well. Cooks and youth counselors and install technicians for Moyer's Heating and Cooling, and lots of caregiving companies are hiring in hospitality as well.
So a lot of you are saying, when is this job fair? We're talking all around this job
That's right.
fair. And this is actually going to be Wednesday, September the 29th at the Findlay
September
Toyota
29th.
Center. Wonderful
Yeah.
place. A lot of, very much the social distancing spread out, a lot of room to get around and visit with the various employers and actually sit down and speak with them. And I like what you said, that is, you don't have to funnel through the interview process. You actually can meet right there.
Absolutely.
Which, because you can meet right there, go dressed to meet somebody.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you just want to collect business cards or applications, that's one thing. But if you actually are looking and want to be hired and get a job and you see the job you want, be prepared for an interview. Be dressed for an interview. Have your resume ready, because you can go to Goodwill. You can also go to the NACOG offices or the
NACOG office, they have a career center as well.
SBDC will help you, Small Business Development Center. I mean, there's a lot of resources to help you get that resume tightened up so that you will look attractive to an employer. And there's some key things that you should be including. But again, also be able to present yourself ready for a job. So again, this is Wednesday, September 29th, and it's 3:30 to 6 p.m. at the Findlay Toyota Center. I know we're opening it a little earlier for some veterans.
Yes, 3 o'clock for veterans, and disabled persons are welcome to join the job fair a half an hour early. And I wanted to piggyback on what you said. Be prepared to accept an offer if that's what you want right away as well,
Absolutely.
because we did a job fair just recently, and we had some people that were offered a job on the spot.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Isn't that the ultimate goal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is to connect. That employer has somebody working and they got a job, and now back to
Right.
the community. It's again, also, there's no charge to participate.
Absolutely free for the job seekers, and we will have equipment there as well for them to fill out a job application on a computer right away, or if they need to print out another copy of their resume, we will have that equipment there and as a resource for them.
We make it easy for them.
Yes.
That's what we want to do, to keep the economy going and get people back to work. It's been a tough time, so
Yeah.
I know the jobs are out there. They just have to be connected with make that right connection and get the job.
Definitely there.
So
It's
again,
a job seekers market right now. If you're
Absolutely.
talking about housing, you've got a buyer's market, a seller's market. Right now, it's a job seekers market. So you get to own this one, and you get to pick the job that you want.
So again, it's the Prescott Valley Job Fair, multiple agencies working together for the benefit of the community. So Wednesday, September 29th, 3:30 to 6 p.m. Veterans can get in, and disabled at 3. Join us. Thank you.
Thank you.
A deadly drug is claiming lives in Arizona, counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl. As an anesthesiologist, I'm here to remind you, fentanyl is a potent narcotic. When used correctly and under direct medical supervision, fentanyl can be useful for anesthesia and chronic pain treatment. When used incorrectly from an unknown source, the smallest amount could have lethal consequences. Counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl. They're cheap, easy to get, and only one pill can kill. Know the difference. Visit opioidod.com.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
And welcome back to Community Connections. My next guest is Missy Sikora. She's the Executive Director for Yavapai Family Advocacy Center. No stranger to the show. Missy's been on several times. Welcome. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Marnie. It's great to see you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, like we said, both of us have been going through crazy times, but here we're to talk about Hope Still Floats, an event that you started. That was started years ago. I remember the first one. I think it was a fashion show.
A luncheon fashion show.
And
Yes.
I hosted that. I was the MC for that event, and it was like amazing. But since then, you've grown it to support as we affectionately call it, YFAC, but Yavapai Family Advocacy Center. So let's talk a little bit about, we'll talk about Hope Still Floats, just a little bit of YFAC first.
Okay, sure. So the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center, YFAC, is a child and adult family advocacy center here in Yavapai County. What we do is we provide services to victims of interpersonal crime, and that would mean sexual assault, domestic violence, any type of child abuse, elder abuse, stalking, human trafficking. So all of those people either come to us through law enforcement and Department of Child Safety. A piece of our work is facilitating those investigations. So all forensic interviews are done at the center. And that's just a way to talk to kids so the system isn't kind of re-traumatizing them. And then
Safe environment.
Yes, safe environment, kind of just a softer approach by a trained interviewer, and police monitor rather than do the interviewing themselves, which they really like. And then SANE exams, or sexual assault nurse exams, are the medical forensic exam that needs to happen when somebody's been a victim of any type of a sexual crime. And for Yavapai County, all of those happen at my center.
Right.
So somebody may go to the hospital, they'll get stabilized medically, but then they're transported or brought over to us to have the evidence kind of collection exam. And it's also a way to check their medical care as well.
Right. And you are open 24 hours a day.
We're open
services.
full-time business hours, and then we are available 24/7,
Right.
so we get called in. And then the other half of our work that is not directly investigation related is just a lot of advocacy for victims. So you don't have to have police involved. If you're an adult and you're a victim of a crime, you can come to us and we can give you advocacy. We have therapists that we contract with. We have attorneys that we contract with, support groups. So just anything really to kind of help somebody heal from that kind of an incident.
Right, right. Now, do you receive funding through grants, or how does that work?
Yes, our funding, a large portion of it comes from a large federal grant, VOCA, and then we have state grants from the governor's office, 2 of those, and then private grants that we write for, and then we get contributions from each of the municipalities around the county, so they contribute so much cents per citizen.
Sure.
So our services are available free of charge to all of their community members, and then we have an annual fundraiser.
We're going to talk about that, but let's go back to something you just said, that they're free of charge to anybody coming in, somebody walking in that door. They don't need to worry that they're going to get a bill when they walk out.
Absolutely.
When they call for you and need you.
Absolutely. The
Last
medical
thing they need to
exams,
think about.
therapy, interviews, any advocacy services, anything we do there is free of charge to victims.
Just wanted to make sure that people understand that there's a lot involved in a lot of specialized training and professionals that are helping through this that you're not charged for. They want to take care of you.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about Hope Still Floats.
Well, this will be our 7th annual Hope Still Floats event. It began with a group of community members led by one of my champions and heroes, Jamie Goringer, and she saw that there was a need to support the Advocacy Center and help raise community awareness and raise funds, and so she started this event. And as you said, our first one was a luncheon fashion show and sold tickets, and from there it kind of grew into a silent live auction, evening dinner kind of gala event. And last year we took a year off from the live event and did a virtual event, which
I remember.
was the first time I ever had anything to do with something like that, and it went well, but we are so excited to be back in person this year.
I think it makes a big difference, but I did participate last year virtually, and I did get my bidding in. So it was a lot of fun. It was
Yeah.
new and unique, but I still came away with something good.
Yes, yeah,
participating in that silent auction. So this is happening when?
This is happening October 9th
Uh-huh.
at the Hacienda downtown. It starts at 5 p.m. Doors open. We will have a silent auction, a live auction. We have a live band there. It's a local band called Groove Dogs. We're super excited to have them. Our MCs for the night are Sheriff Dave Rhodes and his wife April Rhodes, who happens to be on the board of directors for Prevent Child Abuse Arizona, our company. So that's super exciting. We have an amazing victim impact speaker. We will be giving out our Beam of Hope Award again this year, so we're super excited about that. So it's just going to be a really wonderful, fun evening.
And that's held in the Marina Room, right?
Yes, it is.
The bigger off to the side of the Hacienda. So you have a theme, though.
We do.
It's always fun.
It is.
You always have
fun.
something crazy and
And
creative.
and our theme this year is Wild Wild West, which we
So
are.
who doesn't have boots
I
and
know.
come put some, get some pair of jeans? Now it's not one of them where like, oh gosh, what am I going to wear to get so fancy? This is like just get your best Western gear on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wild West. We're super excited about it. We will have a poker table set up there and somebody leading that kind of just for a fun activity. Some cornhole boards set up for fun, kind of outside stuff while the band is playing. So it's just going to be a great, great evening.
So again, it starts at what time?
5 p.m.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are $75 for one person or $700 for a table.
Okay.
That includes
Find a whole bunch of your best friends.
dinner.
Bring on-
Absolutely.
It's always more fun too. I've gone to these several times and I always have a group of crazy women friends that, inspire you to bid higher or you bid against each other or, just to enjoy the evening. Plus it's supporting such a great organization that, if you don't know about it, you should find out more about it because we're very fortunate to have you in our community. So again, thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, are you looking for any donations, any sponsors? I know we're getting down to the wire, so
We
tickets are available.
Tickets are available on yfac.org, so that's
Mm-hmm.
yfac.org. And yes, of course, we still want donations. We're still taking sponsorships for the event. And all somebody need to do is go onto our website, again, at yfac.org. The forms are on there. They can access, or they can call the center and ask for me, or any of my employees can actually help as well. And that number is 928-775-0669.
And that's making reservations is also on there, on your website.
Yeah, it's easier to go to the website and make your reservations and get your tickets. It puts you directly into our system, so then those tickets are accounted for.
And we're calling it yfac.org.
Correct.
So, Yavapai Family Advocacy Center. Plus, there's a whole lot on that website about the history and what Yavapai Family Advocacy Center does and the contributions of the community. And they're there when you need them. And sometimes that's the worst possible thing to happen, but you are there to take care of victims. And I'm so glad you're there.
Start the healing.
And,
That's
and
what
I'm
we
sure
say.
that many of us can sit and know that somebody's needed those services, and we're very fortunate to have there. Or somebody maybe should be calling you.
Absolutely.
So let's take care of that. So Mrs. Sikora, Yavapai Family Advocacy Center, again, Hope Still Floats. That will be the 7th annual coming on October the 9th. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Life is full of bittersweet transitions. Sometimes these changes can hit harder than expected and may contribute to feelings of hopelessness
We've got this, Dad.
or even thoughts of suicide. Support from friends and family can make a big difference to a veteran going through a difficult time.
You good, sir?
Together, our actions could help save a life.
I got this.
Learn more at veteranscrisisline.net.
And welcome back to Community Connections. This is really a pleasure for me because I have someone that has joined me today that I have loved for a lot of years. And her name is Mary Van Gorder. She is the wife of David Van Gorder, who we lost a couple years back. David Van Gorder was a staple with Prescott area leadership. He helped us with our business academy at the chamber. I'd run him into theater. And they were the couple that just brought a smile to your face every time you see him. Well, Mary's here with us, along with Carol Tanko, who's written a book about David Van Gorder. So we're going to share that today. A very special man, lovely lady, and Carol, thank you for continuing to keep David alive for all of us because he's a very amazing man. And he's an outstanding artist on top of everything else. But David was a quadriplegic. And to overcome what he had did and live the life he did was just incredible and inspiring to all of us. So this was his beautiful wife, and I love her to pieces. So Mary, welcome. It's so nice to see you.
It's nice to be here. I'm telling you, especially just the fact that David will continue to live on in this book that Carol wrote for my grandkids and my kids and whoever else seemed to love him so much.
Absolutely.
But we met years ago. David broke his neck when he was 22 years old. He was married for 10 days to a young 19-year-old girl, and his life pretty much just stopped right then. And the book shows how he not only struggled, but how he hated himself. He wanted to commit suicide. He couldn't even do that. His self-esteem was in the toilet, and how little by little he picked himself up. And the challenges he went through were amazing. And I met David after he got his doctorate in psychology. And we always said we met at a psych hospital because I was a psychiatric nurse and he was a psychologist, and we became instant friends. And from there, our friendship grew to, we were buddies for 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
Very special man. So I had a manuscript in my possession of David years ago talked into a tape recorder. He would hit it with his knuckle and he would just talk. And this lovely lady, Carol, decided one day, you tell him the story.
Well, it started when I went to his memorial. My neighbor had just gone deaf, Bill Stewart, and his wife Maggie brought me to the memorial, and he couldn't hear anything, but I was listening to everything they were saying about David, and I was so impressed that I went home and wrote everything down so he would know what had been said. And then I gave Mary a copy, and a little while after that, I pulled it out and read it again, and I go, David is too special for his life not to be documented. So at one point, I called Mary after trying to think of someone that could write this book that I knew, and I just said, Mary, I would like to write the book. And she goes, I didn't know you were a writer. And I go, I'm going to be. And so she said, I am so happy. I have a manuscript that he wrote, notes about his whole life,
Yeah.
even before he knew Mary.
No punctuation, nothing. Just
Oh,
typed.
David was wonderful. He had so much to share that he could hardly stop, even for a comma.
Yeah.
And so I learned more about David than I knew, and I was his around-the-corner neighbor for years and years and years. He was always so happy, so well-dressed, so full of enthusiasm and everything. He was, that you had no idea what it took to be David. How much work he put in to change his mind and his attitude, how long it took him to get ready every single day just to go outside of the house. He was a very brave person, and in the book, I was inclined to put little inspirational notes because he was a very inspirational person. And one of them says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And that struck me with David, because to get into our house, 6 people had to pick him up in his chair to get him up the stairs. And I said, aren't you just terrified? He goes, what am I going to do, fall and break my neck?
That sounds like David. That sounds like
That
David.
was one
Yeah.
of the best things. One of the things that attracted me to him was his sense of humor, and it took many, many years for him to get to that point.
Right.
But I think I picked on him so much. He said, "You get a lot out of my handicap, don't you?" It's like, it's just, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry. But we had so many funny events, and he would just laugh. Like one day he went for a walk, and I usually would walk with him, but this way he wanted to go by himself. And his chair malfunctioned, and he started just going back, and he was in the middle. There was nobody around. It was early morning, and he's yelling, "Help, help, help." Finally, a neighbor came out, saw him, and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, since my chair went down, I just thought I'd get a suntan." I mean, he never got frustrated over anything. He was amazing. But if I could quote a little something also, this is his words. "I have learned that we grow through crisis. There are times when we are stretched to the limit, when our back is against the wall, and we have had some extremely painful experiences. Afterwards, we realize that without those experiences, we wouldn't have manifested the kinds of qualities and understanding we now possess. So he did bless. He said, do you think my life was better as a quadriplegic or walking? And he grew so much as a quad, but he always wanted his arms and legs. Then when he started to paint, it was just amazing because he couldn't hold a brush and he had no wrist. So our neighbors would put braces on him, thumb screws and holders, and he would paint with his shoulder movement.
Wow.
And I would look at it and think, I can't watch you paint that. And I'd come back and it would be, how did you do that? That's amazing. So
One
his
step
work-
at a time.
But his work is incredible, and you would look at it and you would not know that.
And Tiz Gallery has asked to have his last art show the first 6 weeks of the new year.
So we'll talk about that. We'll bring you back so we can talk about that. Maybe share a little bit of the art and let people know. So again, Carol, where can people purchase this book? And I love this back picture of the two of
isn't
Mary
that
and
sweet?
David on there.
It sums up their whole life. There wouldn't have been a David for 76 years without a Mary. She was a nurse. She loved him with her soul and heart.
And gave him that place to live too.
Yes.
Safely. So we're running out of time though. So where can we find the book?
It's on Amazon.com. Put in search Carol Tanko. It's much easier to find than using the title.
And the title is Best Seat in the House, Suddenly Quadriplegic, Now What? The story of David Van Gorder. Thank you both, Mary, good to see you,
Thank
and
you
Carol
so
for
much.
putting this story out for us to read. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you back in 2 weeks.